Welcome everyone to the big clash at the National Championships under 9. We have a very important game in the final round as Viaansh Bhatnagar opens the game with pawn to d4. His opponent Mikael Rozario plays pawn to d5. They both are leading the tournament. We have the London system on the board with 8.5 out of 10, along with another player, Anuj Siddharth, who's playing on board 2. So three leaders at the top. And now e3 played. Rayaan gets his knight out to c6 and knight to f3. At stake is the national title of under 9, and it's a very competitive field, very difficult to win a national title in India. Pawn to e6 and c3. Viaansh is like, I know how the London system works, I'm going to set up my pieces. Rayaan gets his knight out to f6 and the bishop comes to d3. And now knight to h5. So this is excellent preparation here by Rayaan. He attacks the bishop. The bishop goes to g5. And now queen to b6 is usually the way you continue. Queen b6 attacking the b2 pawn, but Rayaan goes pawn to f6. Maybe not the best move. Bishop h4. And now if you play the move g5, you have to be careful. Knight takes g5 and the knight is hanging. So g6 played here by Rayaan, a good move to defend the knight on h5. We have knight b d2, finishing development, and pawn takes pawn. If you take back with the e pawn, then the knight jumps to f4, attacking the bishop and g2. So you have to take back with the c pawn, and that's what Viaansh does. He takes back, c takes d4. While white's position does look more harmonious with all the pieces developed, but now bishop comes out to d6. You can see both of them playing pretty quickly here. And now bishop g3, maybe not so necessary. He could have castled or played his rook to c1. Bishop g3 played. And now queen e7. Slightly surprising choice. Like usually you want to take and then castle. Yes, the h file is open, but generally this is safe. Queen e7 instead played by Rayaan, and now Viaansh can take on d6. But instead he goes pawn to a3, taking into control the b4 square. Now there are no longer knight jumps to b4. And Mikael goes, he wants to develop. Rayaan goes bishop d7. He plays his bishop to d7. And once again an opportunity for Viaansh to take the bishop on d6. But I think he doesn't want to do that. He's going for the b pawn, it seems. He plays pawn to b4. A logical move. Gaining space on the queen side. But now you can take, which is what Rayaan does. And after pawn takes g3, you have to be slightly careful because now bishop takes g6 is a threat. So if you play e5, bishop takes g6 is possible. And so he goes queen to g7. Interesting move, defending the pawn on g6. And knight b3. Viaansh is going for the c5 square. I guess a very strong move is pawn to b6. But he goes e5. Ooh, pawn to e5. But now when you take, d takes e5, f takes e5, the game is getting super exciting. Viaansh takes on e5, and now fe5 is met with pawn to e4. It seems like here this is an excellent move because black is threatening pawn to e4. And e4 played. Wonderful move by Viaansh. If Rayaan goes d4, which I think he will, he does give up a lot of light squares. So rook c1 with the idea of knight c5 makes a lot of sense. But Viaansh is going for the knight. He plays his knight to d2. And I believe what he wants to do is go knight to c4, which is interesting because b5 and then attack the e5 pawn. Bishop comes back to c7 for Rayaan. Maybe he's planning that if knight to c4, he may want to strike with b5. Okay, rook c1. I mean, that just makes sense. You are threatening b5. It's a very useful move. Yes, rook c1 played by Viaansh. Now, what will Rayaan do? He is definitely under pressure. He plays rook c8, the best move, defending the bishop. And now bishop to b5. Very interesting. I guess a6 makes sense. Pushing the bishop. If you take, I take back with the bishop with a fine position. You want to keep the bishop on the board. Bishop c4 makes sense. He goes bishop a4, which is also fine. And now once again, the ball is in black's court. And Rayaan goes h6. He improves his position slightly, stops the knight from jumping to g5, maybe wants to play g5 at some point. Rook c4 played by Viaansh. Rook c5 played by Viaansh. He's eyeing this e5 pawn, maybe rook d5, maybe b5. I don't know. The rook looks nice on c5. What is Rayaan going to do now? Pawn to b5. Makes sense. He castles. Whoa. And that does look scary now. Look at this. I can go for a check. The king has to move to the h file. If you go to h7, there's knight g5. So king h8, and then I still jump knight g5 with the ideas of the knight jumping into e6. And I think that's some real trouble there. Oh, but he's going for castle. Man, Viaansh, use your rook on the h file. No, he castles, and actually that kind of gives a very decent position for black. Now Rayaan is back in the game. And I'm actually curious to see what next plan he chooses. There are some options. b5, I think a nice little move. Pawn to b5. Okay, check makes sense. You get a tempo, you move your bishop out. Time-wise, I think Viaansh has managed his clock well. He has 1 hour 13 minutes. Rayaan is down to 38 minutes. And now the king moves to h7. Queen to c2. Ooh, that's a mistake. But it's... Maybe can Rayaan find it? Why this is a mistake? The rook is kind of trapped. And look at Viaansh. He's shocked. Rayaan gets excited. Bishop b6 or bishop d6. The rook is trapped. Oh, maybe it can go to d5. But suddenly there would be a discovered attack with the knight. And so, such an important moment. I think Viaansh had to go rook c2 or he goes bishop b6. Rayaan finds it. Bishop to b6. The rook is attacked now. If you go rook d5, knight takes b4 would be very powerful. Bishop comes to e6. Interesting. Okay, the point is, of course, if you take bishop e6, I have rook takes c6. But I can simply take on c5. That seems like a good move. The pressure often gets to you in such games because it's the final round and, you know, only a win gets you the title. But it's Viaansh who made the first error here. And now Rayaan is an exchange up. Queen takes c5 taken. Okay, still some effort needed to convert this. He goes queen to e6. One thing which I think is being done nicely by Rayaan is that he's ready to make calm, cool moves. Now, queen d5 is a nice move. Queen f6 played. Because if you take, suddenly the e5 pawn hangs. The knight has to move. So, Queen f6. And now maybe a check. Instead, he goes back. Queen a2. White's position still has some potential. Imagine a knight getting to c5. The knight on f3 putting pressure here. So, Rayaan has to be careful. He plays a5. And he tries to attack the queenside structure. If you take here, he wants to take knight takes a5. Takes. Knight takes. And now the b5 pawn is slightly weak. So you may want to attack it with queen d5 once again. Yes, good move. Queen d5 played. And now Rayaan goes a knight to c4. He is giving up the b5 pawn. And Viaansh takes it. Queen takes b5. Does he have a chance? He has 30 extra minutes on the clock. He has a knight and a pawn for a rook. Knight takes d2. Knight takes d2. So takes. And he takes back. Knight takes d2. And now queen goes back to e7. We have some guests who have come to watch the game as well. So there's always this pressure on the last round top board clash. Knight f3. The pawn on e5 is hanging. He goes rook c3 even. Ooh, attacking a3. But now, if knight takes e5, a4. Ooh, nice move by Viaansh. He's like, I don't even want to take here because there was rook c5 business. d3 played, and now all of a sudden white is back in the game. I'm tempted to take here, but that would be a mistake because of rook c5. So a5, good move. These youngsters playing so well. Rook d8. d2, d1 could be the threat. Rook d1, another nice move, and Viaansh plays so quickly. 50 minutes on the clock. Rayaan has only 18 minutes. Queen c7, and now you can take on e5. He goes king h2, even, keeping the pressure going. Viaansh playing with his Rajasthan jersey, g5. Now, a6. He even goes g4. Oh, that's a great move. Rook d7. Keeping it steady. And now takes on e5. Nice move. Attacking d7. There's no longer rook c5 now. Pressure is mounting now. This time Rayaan under pressure. He plays rook e7. And a must move is f4. Because there is a pin here. So f4 found. And after g takes f4, you now move the knight back to f3. And it's chaos on the board. It's complete. Okay, knight f3, good move. Because queen f5 check is threatened. g5 is coming in. d3 pawn is also falling. Oh my goodness. How can you be accurate here? A very good move, queen d7. Queen d7. Okay, queen h5. Keep the queens on the board. It's helpful. He goes queen b4, which is decent. Very decent. Rook c7 comes back. And this game is so good. g5. Both of them playing excellent chess. Queen g4 by Rayaan. He gets his queen and he's threatening queen g3 check. Which is maybe not a big threat. Queen d6. Viaansh goes in. Can we take this pawn? He takes it and he asks Rayaan, what's your plan? I mean, Viaansh has 39 minutes. Rayaan has only 4 minutes. He takes queen d3, but that's a mistake. Rook d7 has been missed. There will be simplifications that will happen. Shouldn't have taken here. King g1 was a very good move. But taking here, and Rayaan gives first a check. He gets up from the chair. He's 2 minutes only on the clock. King G1. And now he plays G4. Wow. He's going for the mate with G3. Knight to D4. And G3 played. Threatening Queen H2. I guess Knight F3 makes sense. He goes Queen F3. But now you can actually take the Queen. He takes it. And that's very good move. Because now Knight takes F3. And E4. Don't take this pawn. There's a check here. Rook A7. Going after this one. He goes Rook A1. And now bring your king in. And this is winning because somehow there's also this mating threats because of these two black pawns which are so far advanced. E5, Rook A6. He's going for the doubling down the A file to win the A pawn. And Rayaan, who has just 2 minutes on the clock, he knows that he's going to win this. Now, it looks clear. But Rook A4, maybe some chances here to attack this pawn. He goes Rook E1. Takes the pawn. E6, E7. Is that a threat? He pushes the pawn, but the pawn is not going anywhere. E7, you can stop it. Rook A1, nice little move. This E7, you just simply chop this off with a check and take the E7 pawn. So King E2. And Rayaan goes with a check here. Rook A2 check. The king comes up to D3. Rook takes E1. Knight takes E1. And king to F6 played. Brings his king here. King D4. And now gets this pawn on E6. If you go king E4, there's check and you lose the knight. So knight D3, attacking F4, king F5. Remember, these youngsters are just 2017 born, very young. Knight E1, rook check, king C3, and now rook E1 should do the trick. Oh, there's still some tricks, because if you take here knight H4, it's still winning, but you don't want to give up the rook. So king E4, knight H4, and well, Rayaan, in the spirit of how he's played this tournament, aggressively sacrifices a rook in the end to now queen his two pawns, pawn to F3. These two pawns extremely strong, and I must say he is the deserving national under-9 champion, because he's winning here, and Viaansh, well, he resigns. And excellent play by both these youngsters. I'm pretty sure they are both going to go on to become great players. For now, Rayaan wins the title and he is the national under-9 champion. We did interview Rayaan and his family. That's another amazing interview that we will put up separately on our channel.